Okay, guys, today we are going to discuss about another cell division that is meiosis. Last time we discussed about mitosis. Now you know mitosis that occurs in somatic cells of the body. In mitosis, parent cell divides into two daughter cells. However, the chromosome number remains the same, but only parent cell divides into two daughter cells. So both parent and daughter cells are diploid in mitosis. This meiosis, where it occurs? Meiosis occurs in the germ cells. Meiosis occurs in germ cells. Meiosis occurs in germ cells only. So by meiosis from these germ cells, haploid gametes are formed. Haploid gametes are formed. Gametes are formed. Or we can say in meiosis, a parent cell, a parent cell which was diploid, it divides first into two diploid daughter cells. Sorry, it divides first into two haploid daughter cells. Two haploid daughter cells by meiosis first. Then these two haploid daughter cells, they divide into two more. Each of them divides into two more daughter cells by meiosis second and producing at the end four haploid daughter cells. These are four haploid daughter cells. Haploid daughter cells. So the first difference between mitosis and meiosis is that in mitosis only two daughter cells are produced and both the daughter cells are diploid. At the end of meiosis, meiosis occurs in two stages, meiosis 1 and meiosis second. At the end of meiosis, four haploid daughter cells are produced. So these four haploid daughter cells, they are the gametes. They may be either sperms or ova. Why? Because this meiosis only occurs in the germ cell, right? So as we can see here, meiosis is completed in two phases: meiosis first and meiosis second, right? So we will discuss this process of meiosis in these two phases: meiosis first and meiosis second. So I would like to tell you here, meiosis first is known as reductional division. Reductional division. While as meiosis second, it is known as equational. Equational division. So in meiosis first, the chromosome number of the parent cell is reduced to half. A diploid cell is changed into a haploid cell. Then in meiosis second, these two daughter haploid cells, they are having still double DNA content. Their DNA content is equally distributed among four haploid daughter cells, right? So meiosis first is reductional and meiosis second is equational division. Let us discuss this meiosis in detail. So we will discuss this meiosis process in detail. So meiosis is completed in two phases. Meiosis first and meiosis second. As I told you just now, meiosis first, it is a reductional division. It is a reductional division. Meiosis second, it is an equational division. Equational division. So in meiosis first, chromosome number is reduced from 2n to 1n. And in meiosis second, the double DNA content which is possessed in these daughter cells, that is equally distributed among four daughter cells. So DNA content of the chromosome is equally distributed among four daughter cells. Four daughter cells. That is why we call it as equation of division. Now this meiosis first, it occurs in four phases. It is divided into four phases. What are the four phases of meiosis first? There is prophase first. There is metaphase first. There is anaphase first. And then there is telophase first. Telophase. So meiosis first is divided into four phases. Prophase first, metaphase first, anaphase first, and telophase first. So we will start with prophase first. We are discussing meiosis first. We will start with the prophase first. We will see what happens in the prophase first of meiosis first. Prophase first is divided into following phases: leptonema or leptotene, zygonema or zygotene, pachynemia or pachytene, diplonema, diplonema or diplotene, and diakinesis and diakinesis. So prophase first of meiosis first. It is a long non-dividing phase. We divide this prophase first of meiosis first into following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phases. First phase is known as leptonema or leptotene. Second is known as zygonema or zygotene. Third is known as pachynemia or pachytene. Fourth is known as diplonema or diplotene, and the diakinesis, right? So you can remember these phases of prophase first by the sequence LZPDD. LZPDD. So there is a mnemonic for this. LZPDD. L stands for Lata, Z stands for Zara, P stands for Pani, D stands for Day, D stands for Day. So you can remember these phases of prophase first by the mnemonic Lata, Zara, Pani, Day, LZPDD. Lata, Zara, Pani, Day, right? So by these mnemonics, you can remember these different stages of prophase first. Now we will see what happens in this prophase first. So when the cell enters into leptonema of the prophase first, the cell is having a well-defined nucleus. In this nucleus, there are thread-like structures, chromatin fibers. There is a well-defined nucleolus, and there are a pair of centrosomes. In leptonema, when the cell enters leptonema, it has got a well-defined nucleus. It has got a well-defined nucleolus. It has got thread-like structures known as chromatin fibers, and there are a pair of centrosomes. As the cell enters into this phase, these chromosomes they start coiling up. These chromosomes start coiling up. These chromatin fibers they start coiling up, and they start appearing as rod-like structure, thick rod-like structure. Now the chromosomes coil up, they condense, and they start behaving, they start appearing as thick rod-like structures. So chromosomes start appearing as thick rod-like structures. Centrosomes, they start moving towards two opposite poles of the cell. Centrosomes, they start moving towards two opposite poles of the cell. And they start the organization of the spindle. They start the organization of spindle. So in Leptonema, when the cell enters, it had fine thread-like structures in it. Those fine thread-like structures, they were the chromatin fibers. They were the uncoiled chromosomes. As leptonema progresses, these fine thread-like structures, they condense and they start appearing as thick rod-like structures. They start appearing as thick rod-like structures. So they coil up and they become thick rod-like structures. Then from leptonema, this cell enters into zygonema. What happens in zygonema? The centrosomes, they are migrating towards two opposite poles of the cell. They are organizing the spindle. The spindle is being organized. Homologous chromosomes, they start pairing up. They are further coiling. Homologous chromosomes, they coil up. They become more thicker. Homologous chromosomes, they coil up, they become more thicker. And their centromeres, they start becoming visible. So homologous chromosomes form pairs in zygonia. And their centromeres, they start becoming visible. In zygonema, homologous chromosomes, they form pairs, they further condense, they further coil up, they become more thick and rod-like, and their centromeres, they start becoming visible. The nucleolus and the nucleus membrane, they are still intact. And the centrosomes, they are migrating towards two opposite poles. Their journey towards two opposite poles of the cell is continuous. And they are organizing the spindle. This happens in the zygonia, right? Then what happens in pachyderma? Centrosomes, they are migrating towards two opposite poles of the cell. The spindle is being organized. Homologous chromosomes, they further coil up. They further coil up. And their sister chromatids now start becoming visible. Homologous chromosomes are further coiling up. And their sister chromatids start becoming visible. These are two homologous chromosomes. We represent one by shaded. We will shade one. So this is one chromosome, this is another chromosome. They are homologous to each other. Similarly, there is another pair of homologous. Homologous chromosomes, they are condensing. Their sister chromatids become visible. And their non-sister chromatids of the homologous chromosome, they cross over each other at many points. So these points where the non-sister chromatids of a homologous chromosome pair cross over each other. This point is known as a chiasma. It is known as a chiasma. A chiasma means across, right? So in Pachynyma, as the homologous chromosomes condense further, their non-sister chromatids, they cross over each other, they overlap over each other at various points. These points where the homologous chromosomes cross over each other at various points, they are known as chiasmata. Chiasma is singular and chiasmata is plural. So chiasmata are formed between the non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes. If this is a chromosome, it has got two chromatids. These two chromatids, they are sister chromatids. Then it has got its homologue, similar chromosome. In human body, in human somatic cells, chromosomes are in the form of 23 pairs, right? So it has got its pair, and it has also got chromatids. So it is one chromatid, and these are the two sister chromatids of this chromosome. So one chromatid of this chromosome, one chromatid of this chromosome, they cross over each other. Or we can say one chromosome of paternal chromosome and one chromosome of maternal chromosome. Suppose this is paternal chromosome, this is maternal chromosome, right? The chromatids of these chromosomes, they cross over each other. They pass over each other. So points where the chromosomes cross over each other, they are known as chiasmata. Chiasmata means a cross. Means a cross. So what happens at these chiasmata? A process known as nicking and annealing. Nicking and annealing occurs as chiasmata, at chiasmata. So at these chiasmata, nicking means cutting. Nicking means cutting. Nick means a cut. And annealing. Annealing means joining. So these chromosomes at these chiasmata, they get cut and they then rejoin. So there is nicking and annealing. So chromosomes get cut and then they rejoin. So what happens in this nicking and annealing? Part of the chromosome which is shaded here, it is transferred to this chromosome which is unshaded. So chromosomes exchange gene segments. Homologous chromosomes exchange gene segments. This is one chromosome, this is another chromosome. They are similar in shape and size. So that is why we call them as homologous chromosomes. So one of this homologous chromosome is shaded here. Another homologous chromosome is unshaded. So part of this shaded chromosome will cut and it will join with the unshaded chromosome. And the part of this unshaded chromosome will cut and it will join with the shaded chromosome. Right? So in Pachynyma or Pachytene, there is exchange of gene segments between homologous chromosomes. Between homologous chromosomes. This exchange of gene segment, it occurs by a process known as crossing over. So in this crossing over, the chromatids of non-sister chromatids, the chromatids of homologous chromosomes, the non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes, they cross over each other. The non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes, they cross over each other, right? And this crossover is known as chiasmata, and the process is known as crossing over. So what happens in this crossing over? There is nicking and annealing. Chromosome segments, they get cut first, then they join, but they join on the opposite chromosomes, right? A part of this shaded chromosome will cut and it will join with this unshaded chromosome, and the part of this unshaded chromosome will get cut and it will join with the shaded chromosome. So in this way, in Pachynyma, there is exchange of gene segments. There is exchange of gene segments. So this is the main event in the Pachynyma. Homologous chromosomes, they exchange gene segments, and this forms the basis for variation in sexual reproduction. Because of this exchange of gene segments, variations are produced in sexually reproducing organisms. This happens in Pachynyma. Then the cell enters into Diplonyma. These homologous chromosomes, they were held together. They were kept in the form of a pair by small protein threads. these small protein threads which held the homologous chromosomes together. These small protein threads were known as synaptonymal complex. Synaptonymal complex. So when the chromosomes formed pairs, when homologous chromosomes formed pairs, these pairs of chromosomes, they were held together by small protein threads, small protein network, which was formed in between them. This small protein network, which was formed in between them, this was known as synaptonymal complex. So these synaptonymal complex proteins, they were holding the homologous chromosomes together. Now what happens in diplonema or diploteins? The homologous chromosomes, they start moving away from each other. Centrosomes are organizing the signal. Centrosomes are organizing the signal. And they are moving towards the two opposite poles of the cell. Now homologous chromosomes, they separate, they move away from each other. They start moving away from each other. The homologous chromosomes separate out. They start moving away from each other. And in this diagram, I am showing you the segments of chromosomes which have been exchanged. So in the beginning, we had an unshaded chromosome and a shaded chromosome. Now, as the crossing over occurred, segment of this shaded chromosome is transferred to this unshaded chromosome. And the reciprocal segment of this unshaded chromosome is transferred to this shaded chromosome. So this diagram represents here the exchange of gene segments. It shows the crossing over. It shows the result of crossing over, exchange of gene segments. Now these homologous chromosomes, they are starting moving away from each other. The homologous chromosomes are starting moving away from each other. That means this synaptonymal complex, it slowly starts disappearing. Synaptonymal complex, which was holding the chromosomes together, it starts weakening, it starts disappearing, right? So in diplonema, the crossovers, they disappear. In diplonema or diplotene, the crossovers, they disappear. Chromosomes, homologous chromosomes, they start moving away from each other. They were held together by synaptonymal complex proteins. These synaptonymal complex proteins, they are now starting disappearing, they start disintegrating, and the chromosomes move slightly away from each other. So that crossovers, they disappear. So this happens in diplonema. Then the cell enters into dikinesis. Now the cell enters into dikinesis phase. What happens in dikinesis phase? We will discuss that here. I will show you that in diagram here. In dikinesis phase, when the cell enters into dikinesis, the nuclear membrane completely disappears. Nuclear membrane completely disappears. This nuclear membrane, it disappears. Nucleolus also disappears. Nucleolus also disappears. So the nucleus of the cell, nuclear membrane and the nucleolus, they disappear in dikinesis. And the centrosomes reach exactly to two opposite poles of the cell. Centrosomes, they complete the formation of spindle, organization of the spindle. In dikinesis phase, centrosomes complete the organization of spindle. In dikinesis phase, nuclear membrane disappears, nucleolus disappears, centrosomes they reach to two opposite poles of the cell, and they complete the organization of spindle. Then there are two types of spindle fibers formed, as we discussed in mitosis: kinetochore spindle fibers and non-kinetochore spindle fibers. Kinetochore spindle fibers, they start aligning these homologous chromosomes towards the equator of the cell. Kinetochore spindle fibers start aligning these chromosomes towards the equator of the cell. They are not yet at the equator of the cell, but these kinetochore spindle fibers, they start pulling the chromosome towards the equator of the cell. So that is what happens in dikinesis. So we can summarize it again. Up to dikinesis, that means up to diplotin, the cell had a nuclear membrane, it had a nucleolus in it, right? The centrosomes were still migrating towards two opposite poles of the cell. But as the cell enters into dikinesis phase, what happens first in the dikinesis phase? In the dikinesis phase, first, the nuclear membrane of the nucleus that gets disintegrated, that disappears. Nucleolus also disappears. Nucleolus also gets disintegrated. So the nuclear membrane and the nucleolus, they disappear. Centrosomes reach to two opposite poles of the cell. Centrosomes reach to two opposite poles of the cell. And they complete the formation of spindle fibers. They complete the formation of spindle. Then as the formation of spindle is completed, then kinetochore spindle fibers, they start aligning the chromosomes towards the equator of the cell. They start pulling the chromosomes towards the equator of the cell, but they are still not reached towards the equator. The chromosomes have still not reached towards the equator, but they are pulling them towards the equator. This happens in the prophase first of meiosis first, right? So as I told you, prophase first of meiosis first, it is divided into different phases. We have a mnemonic for that: L, Z, P, D, D. So L stands for leptotin or leptoneme. Z stands for zygotine or zygoneme. P stands for pachytene or pachynyme. D stands for diplotin or diploneme. And D stands for dikinesis. So you can remember these phases by the word Lata Zara Pani Dede, right? So there is a mnemonic Lata Zara Pani Dede. If you remember this Lata Zara Pani Dede, you will remember these five different phases of the prophase first of meiosis first, right? Then you have to remember what happens in the leptoneme. So in the leptoneme, the chromosomes they coil up. So far, the chromosomes were in the form of chromatin fibers. Now these chromatin fibers coil up, they condense, and they start appearing as thick rod-like chromosomes, right? And centrosomes start migrating to two opposite poles of the cell. Then what happens in the zygoneme? In zygoneme, homologous chromosomes they form pairs. Homologous chromosomes form pairs. So in this way, in human cells, 23 pairs of chromosomes will be formed. In human cells, 23 pairs of chromosomes will be formed in zygoneme. So how these pairs remain stuck together? These pairs of chromosomes, they are held together by protein complexes, protein thread-like structures known as synaptonemal complexes. So these synaptonemal complex proteins, they hold a pair together. So this is one pair, this is another pair, there may be another pair, another. So 23 pairs of chromosomes are formed in this zygoneme or zygotene. And the centromeres of these chromosomes, they become first visible in this zygoneme or zygotene stage, right? Then the cell enters into pachynyme or pachytene. What happens in pachynyme or pachytene? These chromosomes further condense, they further coil up, and they shorten. As they coil up and shorten, their sister chromatids become visible. Their sister chromatids become visible. And we see in pachynyme or pachytene, these these non-sister chromatids of a homologous chromosome pair, right? I told you this is one homologous chromosome. This is one chromosome. This is another chromosome. They are similar in shape and size. So we call this chromosome pair as homologous because they are similar in shape and size. This chromosome has got two sister chromatids. This chromosome has got two chromatids. They are known as sister chromatids. This has also got two chromatids. They are its sister chromatids. This chromatid and this chromatid of this pair, they are known as non-sister chromatids. So these two chromatids of this chromosome, they are its sister chromatids. These two chromatids of this chromosome, they are its sister chromatids. These two chromosomes, they form homologous pair. This chromatid and this chromatid of this homologous pair, they are known as non-sister chromatids. Now what do we see in packaging? These non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes, they have overlapped each other at many points. These non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes, they have overlapped at each other at many points. So they have formed cross-like structures at various points. These cross-like structures, where the chromatids are overlapping, these cross-like structures, they are known as chiasmata. They are known as chiasmata. In this diagram, I have shown chiasmata here and here only, right? In reality, these chiasmata, they are formed at many places. They are formed at many places. As the chiasmata or crossing over occurs, as the chiasmata are formed or the crossing over has occurred, at these points of contact, the two non-sister chromatids, they undergo a process known as nicking and annealing. They undergo a process of nicking and annealing. So these segments of the non-sister chromatids, which are in contact with each other, they get cut and then they get rejoined. So when they cut, they change their position. The portion of this chromosome is transferred to this chromosome and the reciprocal portion of this chromosome is transferred to this chromosome, right? So there is exchange of genes. There is exchange of gene segments. There is exchange of gene segments. So this is one shaded chromosome. These are two homologous chromosomes. We represent one by unshaded and another by shaded chromosome. So here, the shaded part and unshaded part, they are crossing over, they are overlapped. When they separate from each other, we see that part of this shaded chromosome, it has been translocated to this chromosome, and its reciprocal part has been translocated to this chromosome, right? So there is exchange of gene segments between the non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes, right? And this process of exchange of gene segments, it is known as crossing over. So crossing over occurs, and this is the reason for variation in sexually reproducing organisms, right? So we have got 23 pairs of chromosomes. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes. We have 23 chromosomes from father and 23 chromosomes from mother. So we have 23 paternal chromosomes and we have 23 maternal chromosomes. So suppose this is paternal chromosome and this is maternal chromosome. So gene from maternal chromosome is shifted to paternal chromosome and gene from paternal chromosome is shifted to maternal chromosome, right? So there is exchange of gene segments between paternal and maternal chromosomes, right? And this is the cause of variation in sexually reproducing organisms. So all the 23 pairs of chromosomes, they undergo this process of crossing over, where they exchange gene segments, inducing variation in the offspring, right? This happens in the pachynemon. Then in the diplonemon, the homologous chromosomes, they start moving away from each other. Homologous chromosomes start moving away from each other. So that these crossovers, they disappear. So that these chiasmata, they disappear. We found chiasmata in pachynemon stage. As the cell enters into diplonemon stage, the homologous chromosomes, they start moving away from each other. Synaptonemal complexes, they start disappearing. And the crossovers also disappear. However, the centrosomes, they are migrating towards the two opposite poles of the cell. They are organizing the spindle. Then from this diplonemon, the cell enters into dikinesis phase. So this is the dikinesis phase. as the cell enters into dikinesis phase. What we see in dikinesis, the nuclear membrane is degenerated, nuclear membrane, it disappears, and nucleolus also disappears. Centrosomes reach to exactly two opposite poles of the cell. They complete the formation of spindle. Then these spindle fibers start aligning these homologous chromosomes towards the equator of the cell. So this marks the end of prophase first. This marks the end of prophase first. So I think this is sufficient for today. Thank you.